Student voice is one of many best practices for helping students take more ownership of their learning, whether it's allowing students to share their thoughts or opinion, or if you just allow them to have more say in their learning experience. Either way, both can make a world of a difference in the child's learning. Google offers several options that make adding student voice very simple, and we're going to show you some of those on this week's episode of IT Weekly. There are lots of decisions that teachers have to make each day in their classroom. Everything from how they're going to deliver their content to what kind of products we're going to have my students do to demonstrate their understanding. But it's important for teachers to remember that you don't have to be the only decision makers in your classrooms. You can certainly involve students in this as well. Barbara Bray and Kathleen McClaskey developed a visual that helps illustrate how you can move from a teacher-centered classroom to a student-driven classroom by adding more student voice. And one of the tools that you can use to begin this journey is a simple Google form.
So along the continuum of voice, there is a consultation section, and this is focused on the teacher-centered classroom. And under consultation, one way of keeping it teacher-centered is by having the students take surveys. And Google does a great job with Google Forms on being able to allow students to take surveys through Google Forms that the teacher creates. So in order to create these surveys, teachers can go to Google Drive, select New, go down to More, and then select Google Forms. So from here, teachers will go ahead and select Untitled Form, and this is where they can title the survey. Once they do that, if they select Untitled Form in the upper left-hand corner, it will change the name automatically. They can then give the survey a description or add some sort of directions to the survey. Then below that is where they're going to begin adding questions. There are a handful of question types that teachers can use in their surveys. On the right-hand side, you'll see these. There is a short answer. That's when you might ask your students for their name, as well as paragraph, where the answer might be longer than 1 or 2 words. Then you have multiple choice, checkboxes, and drop down. Checkboxes is nice because the students will be able to select multiple answers per question. You also have the ability to have students upload a file. And then you also have linear scale, multiple choice, and checkbox grid, as well as the date and time option to add those to your questions. You can also make your questions required or non-required, and this is specific to each individual question. Once your survey is ready, you can view it by going to the preview button on the top, and this will open another tab and allow you to preview your survey. When you're ready to share your survey with your students, if you click on the Send button in the upper right-hand corner, you can then see a handful of different options as to how you can share this survey with your students. You can email it to them, you can create a link and put that onto Canvas, or you can embed the survey using this embed HTML code. Remember, creating surveys inside of Google Forms it falls under the consultation teacher-centered classroom.
Creating surveys with Google Form is a great way to connect with learners and build those conversations that we have with our students. But this is still a teacher-centered strategy. To move to a more learner-centered classroom, we need something that's going to offer that participation and that partnership. And using the sharing feature inside of Google is one great option that we have available to us.
Sharing inside of any of the Google G Suite apps is a great way to create that partnership amongst students. And once again, sharing is available amongst all of the apps. We're going to use a Google Slide presentation as a great way for students to create presentations but work collaboratively. So one way in getting started is by having the teacher create a presentation and then share it with particular students. And the way to do this is in the upper right-hand corner of the presentation, clicking on the Share button. So after clicking on the Share button, there are multiple ways that a teacher can share a presentation with a group of students. First of all, teacher can enter the student's Google username, which would be their ID number, followed by @student.cms.k12.nc.us. So they can enter the student's email address there, and then make sure that edit is an option that is turned on. You can also go to the link where it says Get Shareable Link, click on that, and then where it says anyone at CMS can view, you can also change settings here. And this way you can send that link out to groups of students via email or inside of your learning management system. So there are multiple ways that students can or teachers can share the presentation with students. Once the students have been shared the presentation, they can go in and students can work collaboratively on the presentation, and then the teacher already has it inside of their Google Drive. Students are also able to create the presentation, share it with each other, and then submit it to a teacher through an LMS or via email. This is a great way to move from that teacher-centered classroom, now becoming more focused on the learner.
In a learner-centered classroom, what you will typically see is more small group work and partner work. You may also see students more involved in designing how they're going to meet their learning goals. Now, if you're ready to move beyond the learner-centered classroom, what educators can try to do is create opportunities where students are tackling problems of their choosing and connecting that to the content. This is a characteristic of a learner-driven classroom, and Google Keep is a great tool that students can use to manage everything. Google Keep is a great option that will allow students to coordinate projects together online. Let's say, for example, students want to create some awareness around drinking driving around prom time. To coordinate a campaign like this, students could use Google Keep to coordinate the activities. All they would need to do is go to keep.google.com. They'd be able to create a note here, either by list, with image, or by actually drawing one. I'm just going to click inside the box. We're going to give our note a title. We could enter more information in here. You do have the ability, when I select my three dots down here at the bottom, to choose something else. I'm going to choose Show Checkboxes, and this is where I can begin listing items for everyone to complete. Once I've listed out all of the items that the group needs to do, I can set reminders for this. So if I wanted this to be completed by a certain time, I can select when this needed to be done. I can click in here and share this with group members, and I can also add color and images to this as well. Once I've finished my note, I can click Done, and now other members of the group that I have shared this with will see it, and as they complete different items on here on the checkbox, they can check it off, and I will be able to see the progress that has been done on our campaign. What I really love about the learner-driven classroom is the self-directed learning that's going to take place and the leadership that you're going to start to see your student display. Google offers a lot of different options inside their suite that can help facilitate this entire process for you as a teacher and for the students. That's going to do it for this week's episode. Make sure you check us out next week for another edition of IT Weekly.